And welcome back to another episode of The Credit Authority. I'm your host, Rhonda Kulch, and again, I have brought you an amazing show. And with us today is our first guest, a girl that I've known for a while. She is an amazing professional in the real estate space. I am proud and pleased to bring on Jennifer Goren with Island Elite in Port Jefferson Station. How are you, Jen?
I am fantastic. I am so happy to be here speaking to you and speaking to your audience. Thank you so much for inviting me. I just love everything that you do. I'm loving your studio, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
You know, obviously I've been in the industry for a while, and one of the reasons why I chose to bring you on the show today is because this was real estate, I should say, was not your primary career. This is something that you not only jumped into, but have been, you know, like on the top 5 every time I see you on social media. And I love watching your journey. But if you could go back to when you first started in real estate and you can see where the market is today, what advice would you give to yourself?
What advice would I give to myself in terms of entering the real estate field as a professional? Well, I am so glad that everything unfolded the way that it did, you know, because life and my career really have not been linear, as you know, right? Sometimes you have to take a step to the side or a step back to move forward, you know? So the way that I got into real estate is very interesting because I was a first-time home buyer myself many, many years ago. And I didn't have the best experience, unfortunately, you know? And at that time, I just, you know, I'd never bought a house before, and I didn't know what questions to ask, right? And I didn't know what I didn't know. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You don't know what you don't know. And I started to educate myself after the fact.
You're like, this is what I would have done, or this is what I should have been asking.
Yeah. And many years ago, my father planted the seed in my mind. He said, Jen, get into real estate. And when I say many years ago, I mean many. I was in college at the time. And at that time, it wasn't something I was interested in. It wasn't on my radar. And when your parent tells you, oh, you should try this, you actually want to go in the exact opposite direction.
Of course.
But it's something that kept coming back to me over the years. So when I actually made the move myself to Long Island and became a homeowner, I felt there's got to be a better way. You know, so when I had the opportunity to enter the real estate field and I got my real estate license, I had a few different experiences that led me to Exit Realty Island Elite. And I'm so glad that I landed at a firm that really prepares agents to do things the right way, offers a ton of training. It's a wonderful career, I think, anytime in your life. But the way that I approach it is going back to, again, my experience as a first-time home buyer. I just didn't know anything. So I give as much information as I can to my clients. I love to empower them with knowledge because this is most likely the biggest investment they're ever going to make in their entire lives, you know? Or maybe they're selling the biggest investment they're going to make in their entire lives, you know? So I started realizing as I'm going through this, I'm not a salesperson. I really evolved into a real estate specialist. And I specialize in helping people take their next step in life. And I do that by helping them sell or purchase a home. And I lead them through the process every single step of the way by empowering them.
And I watch
knowledge.
Your journey. I watch, you know, every day you're posting another successful closing. I'm so proud of, and you can see there are people that say things, and I call them actions and words. And when I'm watching you and your actions and how you are representing yourself, and of course representing the brand for Exit, you know, I love that. I love watching, you know, that journey for you. You know, one of the struggles that we're having, one of the struggles that we're having in the market right now is lack of inventory, and that everything is being priced up. If I was to be a buyer right now, how are you preparing me so that I know there's a certain level of disappointment that comes when your offer is not accepted? How are you handling the clients that are on the purchase side of the market where there's just so much disappointment they can handle?
Yeah. Well, my goal is to always set my clients up for success. So the first most important part of that is getting your ducks in a row. So getting first a pre-approval, right? Speaking with a lender and getting that pre-approval in hand, because let's say we start looking at homes and my client falls in love with a home. We can't put in an offer unless they have a pre-approval in hand. Someone else who already has a pre-approval in hand can get that offer in and maybe get that offer accepted when my client is still picking up the phone to talk to their lender. So I always recommend be prepared, have that pre-approval in hand. And when you speak with your lender, really understand where you want to be with your monthly mortgage payment. Because a lot of people look at the overall purchase price, but the most important number is your monthly mortgage payment. And I always recommend that we look below your maximum price point, because as you said, in today's market, it's still very competitive. It's still a seller's market. We are still seeing multiple offers on homes. So in case you need that wiggle room to bid up, I say let's look below your maximum price point. So that way, if we have to bid up, we have that opportunity and we can craft a winning offer.
Which I love.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm seeing right now in the market is you have your first-time home buyers, or even, it could be somebody who's transitioning to their next home. Back in the day, as you know, they had the seller concession, which allowed you to build in the closing costs. How are you preparing clients and verifying from the real estate side of the transaction that they have enough funds to close?
Well, from the very beginning, honestly, from my very first conversation, I like to talk about the entire process every step of the way. So I like to know, I prepare my clients, in terms of have enough funds for a down payment.
Sure.
We want to put a strong down payment, because sometimes if you have a similar offer to someone else, that seller will say, well, who's got the higher down payment? Maybe that could be our way of selecting our winner. But always keep in mind, you need to have cash at hand for closing costs. And typically, I will advise 5 to 6% of total purchase price have cash at hand for closing costs. But that's an opportunity for you to also speak with your lender to make sure that you're calculating the right numbers as well.
And I only say that because just in this week alone, obviously I'm in a different marketplace than you are, but I have clients that contact us and they say, look, we need to increase our credit score so that we can qualify for a better mortgage, because without that I can, instead of putting down 10% with a stronger credit score, I could put down 3.5. They're not calculating. And I'm finding that not all the mortgage professionals out there are accurately telling people what they need, almost like they're in fear. And that's a big concern, I would think, for you.
Funny you should say that, because again, from what got me into real estate, when I was a first-time home buyer, again, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I was using an online mortgage calculator to figure out what my monthly mortgage payment was going to be, and my goal was to have that match what I was currently paying in rent. Okay?
Sure.
I didn't know at the time to consider what rate I was going to qualify for, to consider the cost of homeowners insurance that was going to be part of my monthly mortgage payments. I didn't know really exactly what my taxes were going to be, and or other fees that I was going to incur as closing costs that would be wrapped into my monthly mortgage payment. And these are things that you must review before you get to the closing table, and I point that out from the very beginning to my clients that I work with, because I don't want anyone to feel the way I did at the closing table. I was stunned, and honestly I was embarrassed because I didn't know, and I didn't know to ask. So I like to prepare my clients from the beginning, and lots of communication. And it's important to have a really good team that you're working with. Your real estate agent, your lender, your attorney, everybody needs to work together and communicate to get you every step of the way where you need to be to have a smooth transaction at closing. And every transaction is different, every buyer, every seller is different, everybody's got a different story and a reason for why they're buying or why they're selling. And that's what makes this journey so rewarding for me, because I get to help people.
And I think, I think the reason why you probably also landed up at, Island Elite is because they do a tremendous amount of work for the community, which I
Yes.
think is what, from when I've met you originally, I think that was probably another important.
Well, that's what brought us together,
Yes.
actually, doing things for the community.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and I loved that about Exit Realty Island Elite. We're doing great things. In fact, this evening, we are having a client event, but if you're not one of our clients, you can come on down as well. We are giving away Christmas trees to every single person that comes in with a unwrapped gift for Jackson's Toy Drive. And we do Jackson's Toy Drive every year this time of year. Jackson was a little boy. He was sick.
Yep.
And
I know the story.
You know the story, yeah. And it was Christmas time and other kids were getting treatment with him, and he felt bad that not everybody had a Christmas gift. He took his own Christmas gifts and gave them to the kids. And so now his dream continues after him,
Which I
yeah,
love.
yeah. So
Which
we do this
I
every
love.
year. So come on down to Exit Realty Island.
Well, that is all we have today. Again, we are in studio with Jennifer Goren, and she is with Exit Realty Island Elite in Port Jefferson Station. So if you were looking to buy or sell a home, please consider reaching out to Jennifer. Stay tuned for our next guest.